We are back on the Chosen Life podcast for yet another week. You guys are asking for it. You guys are blowing up the internet with these guys. You love hearing their segments. They love each other. They hate each other, but they spread a lot of knowledge. They are the Ballin Realtors. Seb, Hove, welcome back.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, you've spread so much knowledge for us over the past few weeks as far as helping men learn about themselves and get themselves together. You know, it all started off with how we're going to get our hair done, how we're going to beard, clean shaven, how we're going to style, accessories, choosing shoes, choosing the watches. And as we talked about at the end of the day, you don't have to go to a barber and spend $100 for a cut. You don't have to go down to Gucci and buy a $500 jacket. Make sure it fits you. Make sure you have a sense of purpose, and let's get it together. Now that you're all styled up, you know, as far as you got the grooming going, the manscaping, you got the clothes going, the last and final part, and this is the most important at the end of the day, there's a word that people tell me all the time, and I tell them, that's me, yeah? They're like, oh yeah, it's called confidence. You know, and as a dude that grew up very, very shy, I grew up in a very strict family where you don't speak unless you're spoken to. You know, I remember I got one of my first jobs that was at the Gap in Yorkdale Mall in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is one of the busiest malls in, I think, North America, if not the world. And I am at the Gap, and they stick me at Christmas time, and they're like, okay, you're going to be the greeter. I wanted to shit my pants. I wanted to go hide in a corner. I'm like, I can't talk to people. It made me come out of my shell, and I learned the whole concept of it and where it began. And Hope, we've talked about this in our off time together. Why was I not confident? Because I didn't love myself. I didn't respect myself. And if I don't love myself, I don't respect myself, how am I going to speak to others? So I got to ask you two gents, because, man, when I didn't know you yet and I saw you on social media, I said, those are two confident guys. Now, is that something you're born with? Is that something you grew into? How did you guys reach your level of confidence?
Yeah, good question. Are you born with? I think a lot of it has to do with your upbringing. I don't necessarily think you're born with it, but yeah, definitely your upbringing, and of course, you know, whatever happens through the course of your life will maybe enhance it. So you talk about the Gap. I grew up in the restaurant business, and when I started working, my dad had a restaurant. I was working in the kitchen. And then eventually I worked in the front of the house. So I was probably, 17 at the time, 17, 18. And so it just taught me, so you had to go to tables with strangers, basically, you know, talk about the specials, take orders, just chit chat. So you're dealing with all types of people, number one. So you're learning personality types, and how you handle one table may not be the same way you handle another. Plus, you have to go out there. You have to do the order. So you have no choice, right? You can't hide behind, you know, in the back or anything like that. So that forces you to go out there, which I think in turn probably helped with the confidence also.
Sure, yeah.
So, and then, yeah, I go upbringing, you know, I think a father or mother or wherever the household, you know, that definitely helps. So I think it's a combination of a lot.
Hove?
I definitely agree with Seb. Are you born with confidence? I mean, you're born a certain way, sure, right? But I think anybody can gain confidence.
Yeah.
There's ways of gaining confidence, right? Number one, the more uncomfortable things you do and get over, and you get over them pretty fast because you have no choice, you get confidence. Every little thing you do that makes you slightly uncomfortable boosts your confidence. So a lot of people try to live a life where they're comfortable and they're avoiding situations that make them uncomfortable. Should be the opposite. I look, to this day, every single day, I look for situations that make me feel uncomfortable. And like, they're few and far between, man, right? Like, I don't care who you are, what you are, you get in front of me, like, you can't intimidate me. You can't make me feel a certain way. So I try to put myself in situations where I get that. Because now, like when you're younger, you have to, you know, you said you worked at the Gap. I'm sure the first day you didn't get over it. It took you a couple of days to get over it.
Probably a couple of weeks, easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But like now, right, when you're put into the situation where you're uncomfortable, it might take you 5 minutes. It might take you 10, maybe an hour, but you get over it fast.
Isn't it funny also, a circumstance which makes you uncomfortable 1 minute, so like that circumstance there, if you came to me now and said, for the day you're gonna be a greeter at the Gap, I'll be like, oh, this is gonna be the easiest day in the world.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a day off for me, literally.
Yeah.
So something that you hate 1 minute, all of a sudden can become your biggest strength, and then compared to what I gotta do now,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
It's like the old saying: get comfortable at being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where you grow.
I will admit I used to have a giant fear of heights. In order to, I would say, make my girlfriends happy, but as far as advancing in a relationship, let's put it that way in a nice term, I rode Leviathan twice at Wonderland. And the first time I rode it, I remember she told me it doesn't count because you had your eyes closed and you were clenching the whole time. Prove it to me. You need to go sit in the front row with your eyes open. And I have the biggest fear of heights you can imagine.
Wow.
I went on Leviathan with my eyes open. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Wow. And did you die?
I did not die.
Right.
And then we went back to my place after, and I said, I rode Leviathan. Now it's your turn. Wow. I remember being in Mexico, and I'd never gone bungee jumping in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so I said, that ain't happening. And then you have the, what do you call it? The cross-trekking thing, you know, where they're like...
Ziplining.
Ziplining.
Yeah.
So, will you do a zipline at least? I said, no problem, I'll go zipline, no problem. So we go walk up in Mexico, and the guy's yelling me some stuff in Spanish, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. No comprende. No, el baño, what? And he goes, sit. I go, sit where? And he throws me, and I go... What I didn't realize was that wasn't one zip line. To get to the end, you're doing 8 zip lines, and you're coming right before a brick wall, and it stops.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I did that.
You still have a fear of heights, though?
Yes.
As severe?
No. Absolutely not, because I had no choice.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, if you brought me at a certain point in my life, if I had my dream job and you said, all you got to do to get this job, I'm going to take you on an airplane, I'm going to teach you how, and you're going to go jump out of the airplane, I probably would have done it, because at the end of the day, I know it's a means to an end. If I got to do it, I'm going to do it. And also the same token of it, I'm going to learn something, and I got to overcome it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.
Yeah.
And the problem with most people out there, we're talking about men for the past few weeks, but the men that I know that haven't got anywhere in life, they're too comfortable being uncomfortable and just give up.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, you want to be the best you, break away from it, learn to be different, and learn to get out of your zone. You'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll respect yourself more. And once you learn to respect yourself, others will find the same way. Another thing I've noticed, you know, from the first time I met you guys was, you have a unique thing that I don't know if you realize this. When you talk, you actually look at the person.
Oh, yeah. Man.
You know how few people do that? Most people, you notice, they're either on their phones, they're looking at the ceiling, they're looking at the floor, they're looking everywhere possible, but not at your eyes.
I stare into people's eyes, man. Like, I want to look into your soul. Like, I want to know your deepest, darkest secret, and I want to suck it out. You know?
And then when the police come and ask you with the restraining order, like, no, but in all seriousness, if you ever read any books as far as how to win friends, how to influence people, one of the things they always say is, eye contact, make eye contact. It's a power play at the end of the day, and it shows a lot. Have you found, as far as you're in the realtor game, as far as in real estate business, making connections, making clients, they notice that?
Oh, I mean, we see it all. So we see on our side the realtors that have a hard time conversing, and we're thinking, how the heck are they going to strangers' homes and doing any type of business? And then, we've seen the clients that are just... I mean, I call it socially awkward. Maybe it's a little bit harsh, but there's definitely, people that have a hard time. Eye contact. It comes down to confidence, like you said. I think a lot of it is just that lack of confidence, right? And then for us, I'll speak for us specifically. I think sometimes we'll go in situations because we come across as very confident. With some people, it doesn't. What's the word? They kind of. It makes the situation even worse, right? So they even shy away even more. Yeah. So sometimes we even have to kind of tone it down. Yeah. So confidence has a lot to do with that.
But it starts with comfort with yourself, right? It starts with comfort with yourself. So you want to be confident, you got to know who you are, you got to accept who you are, you got to get over your shitty character flaws. And if you don't like them and they affect your confidence, then improve, right? If it's something that you could live with, cool, then move forward. But you got to be comfortable in your own skin. And that's something that we both very much are.
A lot of people I know, the issue that they have as far as not improving, not getting ahead, somebody tells them something. Right away, they're very, very defensive. This person's crazy. that's not me. A second person
yeah.
says it, a third person. At some point, when everybody's telling you, you know, maybe you should make a little more eye contact. Maybe you should, you know, get a hobby, you know, have more interesting things to talk about, you know, improve yourself. When everybody's kind of telling you the same message, it can't be all of them that they're wrong. At some point, look in the mirror and know.
People get defensive because they already know it's wrong. That's why they get so defensive, right? They react quickly because it's something that either they've heard before or they've told themselves and they just try not to hear it. And then when somebody else says it, right away they get defensive because they don't want to admit, yeah, they're right. I should be doing this. I should be better, right? Because they'll take it negatively. Last week, I'll tell you a funny story. There's this guy I see at the gym. He works out with his girlfriend, right? Pretty built. And like, it's kind of weird because sometimes like he'll be on a machine, they're making out while he's doing bench press. Like this is like something straight out of a movie.
Is this Scott Steiner, by the way? Big
No,
Papa Pump?
but like it might as well be, right? Okay. And the chick's cute. The dude's kind of jacked, right? Whatever.
I thought you were gonna say he's cute too.
Anyways, so
nothing wrong with that.
So I noticed over the course of the last couple of months, he's getting softer. Okay, so I went up to him.
Physically softer, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's getting softer. So I like he was working out with his girlfriend as he usually does, and I made it a point. I got to go tell this dude, right? And so he walked away from his girlfriend because I don't want to say anything in front of his chick because then he's really gonna get like, you know. So I finished my set. I walk over to the guy and I grabbed him. I go, listen, bro. And I came close because I don't want people to hear. I go, listen, bro, you're not looking so good these days. And the guy was like, what? I go, yo, I seen you in here for a while. I go, a couple months ago, you looked way better. And then he was posturing up, like he's getting mad. I go, don't get offended. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm trying to help you. And you got to understand, like I'm at the gym, I'm in a tank top, I'm soaked in sweat, like I'm all pumped, right? So like I'm not the guy you want to start anything with anyways. So I told him, I said,
I'm scared just sitting here, to be honest.
I told him though, I said, I've been where you're at and none of my friends told me, right? I go, I'm telling you because I want you to look better. And the guy looked at me, he thought about it for a second. He's like, thank you. I go, yeah. He's like, I'm trying to bulk up a bit. I go, do whatever you want to do. That's cool. I go, I'm just letting you know because I wouldn't be able to live with myself though, right? If I didn't tell him.
He calls me soft every day, so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. Maybe he's trying to help because he loves you.
Yeah, no, he's trying to help. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
As we sum up today's episode, I got to ask you guys a very important question because this has come up in movies and this has come across society before. When we talk about confidence, at the end of the day, is it better to be respected or feared?
That's. I mean, I think it's better to be respected because with respect comes love, right? So that's a higher level. Fear is you're feared, right? Nobody loves you. It's just respect through fear. So it's not that they don't feel comfortable. They don't want to say things around you. It's no good. But look, I'll tell you one thing about confidence. Okay, for men, you want confidence, learn how to fight. Every single guy should learn how to fight. Why? Because I
think men and women. I think everybody should know how to take.
Yeah, but for women, I don't think it doesn't do. It doesn't. Every woman should know how to defend themselves because that's a different type of confidence, right?
Yes.
But every single man on the planet should know how to fight. You don't need to be a pro, but no matter the situation, you should know you could hold your own. Because even if you get beaten up, it's fine as long as you could at least hold your own. And that, my friend, gives men a confidence that unless they do it and unless they get to a certain level, and like I said, not pro, just a level where they're proficient, you cannot explain what it does to a man's mind. Training, what it does, and like weightlifting is cool, running marathons is cool, triathlons, skiing, ice climbing, whatever, you name it. Fighting is different because when you train to fight, you're not only training, you're also having to spar. You're having to fight, okay? So when you get in the ring with somebody, let's say your training partner, you're doing a couple rounds, 3 minutes. The rest of the world doesn't exist, okay? Because when you start getting punched in the face, you forget about all your problems. You forget about all your issues. You forget about work. You forget about your family. You forget about everything because you legit feel like you're going to die.
Survival mode.
It's survival mode.
Survival mode.
And then you survive.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're like, holy shit, I made it. And then the bell rings again. Now you got to go again. And you're thinking, holy shit, how am I going to do that again? I'm so tired. But you have no choice. And then you do it again. And you do it again. And you do it again. So, like, I don't know the biological ramifications and everything, but it does something to the brain and to the body.
I could tell you when I took up boxing and I was getting a physical, my doctor said, what's up with your testosterone? It's through the roof. I said, it's boxing. And I gotta say, when my son was growing up, turned 13, and he was 14, and he's like, he's not in line, and like, he's hard finding his groove as far as, from being a child to a man. I put him in boxing, and the discipline he learned and everything else, it carried him forward. And then he was looking at his friends. It was like now a man among boys. It does the trick. So I agree with you 1,000% on that.
There's three fundamental pieces, I think. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff, but there's three big things for a man. Okay, you either have a lot of money. Okay. You either look amazing, like complete physically, right? Or you really know how to fight. If you have one of those three things, you're already ahead of the game. If you have two, even better. If you have three, buddy, you walk around, you feel like you're on top of the world. Like legit, you feel like you're on top of the world. And nobody can take those away from you, right? That's the beauty. Okay, even if you lose all your money, you go broke, okay? You put two dudes in a room, one of them's filthy rich and the other one knows how to fight. Who's gonna be the alpha? Who's gonna dominate?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's one of the things that's funny, in wrestling, I watch a lot of pro wrestling, and there's a guy now, his nickname in AEW is the Alpha. But that's at the end of the day. It's like we're all swinging our clubs, it's back to the caveman days, but there's still something about it. We talk about as far as people showing their feminine side and all this. Men are learning it still. There's something about having testosterone. There's something about being a man, and we need to embrace that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
We were born this way. We were bred for a reason. If we choose to live that lifestyle, it feels good to be a man. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. So thank you, men, for encouraging men to be men.
Thank you.
We'll see you all back real soon on the Chosen Life podcast. This was Seb, Hove, the Ballin Realtors. You'll have the contact information for the episode. Send in your questions, comments. Guys, please stop trying to break the internet on us here because they love you way too much. And we'll see you back soon. And we'll have you back, of course. And you never know what topic we're going to talk about.
We look forward to it. Thank you.
Cheers. Done.